And I'm outraged, I'm sickened, and I'm saddened. By the way, Shedeur continues to be treated in the National Football League, now by those sorry-ass Browns and sorry-ass Kevin Stefanski.
Last night, Deion Sanders wasn't just thrown into a tough spot, he was set up to fail. This wasn't random bad luck, it was a scheme. From the second he stepped onto that field, you could feel it was Shedeur versus the entire system. The Browns and their coaching staff thought they could crush his momentum, silence the hype, and bury his rise before it even started. But what they didn't see coming was that their little plan would blow up in their faces. Now the spotlight is on Stefanski and the Browns front office, with analysts and reporters blasting them for stacking the deck against Shedeur in the preseason. Stephen A. Smith was the first to call it out, saying he saw this whole setup coming from day one. He warned that every single preseason game was being carefully scripted to make Shedeur look like a flop. Stephen even said that letting Shedeur start the very first preseason game wasn't a reward.
I understand in a situation like that, when it comes to the 3s and 4s that you're playing with that aren't going to be on the squad and not going to make the team, give your quarterback a chance. Okay, you know what? You know they can't hold up that long? Let's play quick game. Let's play quick game just to get Shedeur in the goddamn rhythm. But no, you come out calling regular offensive plays.
When they're at practice, Deion Sanders is not their priority. When he is at practice, he was staying hours beforehand, leaving hours later.
It was a trap. In his words, it was a setup for Shedeur's failure. He was sure the Browns wanted the world to believe Shedeur was nothing more than a fifth-round quarterback who never deserved the spotlight. Maybe that's how they tried to play it, but the story didn't end the way they planned. Now the heat is on Stefanski, with more people blasting him for tossing Shedeur into a system he'd never even touched, just to watch him stumble.
I'm going to answer this question by saying Deion Sanders, and I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail.
When they're at practice, Deion Sanders is not their priority. When he is at practice, he was staying hours beforehand, leaving hours later.
Garrett Bush didn't hold back, pointing out that no matter how much work Shedeur put in before or after practice, he was never part of the Browns' real plan. It's like they wrote him off before he even got the shot. But Stefanski kept a stone face, claiming the players around Shedeur were doing fine and pinning every mistake squarely on him. Reporters pressed him hard, asking if maybe Shedeur's struggles came from spending the whole week practicing with third and fourth string guys instead of the starters. Yet Stefanski wouldn't budge. Instead of admitting that giving Shedeur first-team reps could have actually prepared him better, Stefanski brushed it off completely. He hid behind the usual coach talk, saying his focus was on developing rookies. But let's be real. What kind of development is that? Denying a young QB any time with the starters, then tossing him into live action, expecting him to flawlessly run plays he's never even practiced? That's not coaching. That's sabotage. Skip Bayless jumped in and torched the Browns for how they treated Deion Sanders, calling it the worst approach possible.
I think with all of our players, Mary Kay, there's things that we can do better, and there's some good moments out there, but that's what our job as coaches, to develop our.
He pointed out that this wasn't just a single slip-up, this was a pattern. Shedeur keeps getting mishandled, and Skip made it clear that Stefanski and the Browns have been stacking the deck against him from the start. Skip said it plain. Shedeur wasn't being given the opportunities, the guidance, or the support any rookie QB needs to thrive. Instead, the Browns kept piling on pressure, making it nearly impossible for him to shine. Then Ochocinco came through with even heavier fire, blasting Stefanski for surrounding Shedeur with offensive players who weren't even going to make the team. He argued that this wasn't just unfair, it was sabotage. Ochocinco dropped the hammer, saying straight up, even Tom Brady would have struggled with that lineup. If Brady couldn't thrive in that mess, how was a rookie supposed to succeed? Analysts across the board are lining up on the same side, pointing fingers squarely at the Browns coaching staff for setting Shedeur up to flop. And Ochocinco went even further. warning that the haters would soon try to spin this whole mess into a label, that Shedeur Sanders is nothing but a fifth-string QB. That's the box they want to trap him in. But the truth is way uglier. Ochocinco raised the big question nobody else wanted to touch. Who was really behind setting Shedeur up to fail? He made it clear this wasn't some random stumble. It was part of a bigger effort to drag Shedeur down no matter how he performed. The critics weren't interested in the truth behind his situation. They were more invested in tearing him apart than actually being fair. But through all of it, Shedeur Sanders never threw shade at his coach or teammates. He didn't blame anyone, not even when the setup was obvious. Instead, he stood tall and owned every bit of it. He admitted he had things to clean up and promised to put in the grind to sharpen his game. That's rare maturity, especially in a rookie under that much fire.
I'm outraged, I'm sickened, and I'm saddened. By the way, Shedeur continues to be treated in the National Football League, now by those sorry-ass Browns and sorry-ass Kevin Stefanski.
Shedeur even broke it down like a seasoned vet, saying he needed to keep his eyes locked in better, read the field smarter, and make sharper choices to keep the offense moving. He didn't run from the criticism. He embraced it. He took responsibility for every single sack, saying straight up, "They're on me." That's not just accountability. That's leadership. His response showed not only self-awareness, but also the mindset of a quarterback who's ready to take lumps, learn, and come back stronger than ever. But let's be real. How long can Shedeur keep taking all the blame himself? How long does he have to stand there, owning every mistake, while the people in charge sit back and never step up for him? Analysts are starting to say it out loud. This looks less like bad luck and more like a calculated setup. Shedeur survived round one, but he's still tangled up in a system that doesn't want to see him win. The real question is, when will the NFL stop playing this unfair game and finally give him a fair shot? The treatment Shedeur has received isn't just about one bad night. It shines a light on bigger problems, bias, politics, and who actually gets protected in the league. And yet through all the chaos, Shedeur's response has been pure maturity. He admitted his flaws, stayed locked in, and doubled down on his grind. That's strength most rookies wouldn't show under this kind of fire. But here's the kicker. The issue was never just about Shedeur's individual performance. It's the system itself. A system that sidelines young athletes who don't fit the preferred narrative, forcing them into situations where failure is practically scripted. The way the Browns handled Shedeur screams of something deeper, something that's been hurting players for years. This isn't only Shedeur's story, it's the story of countless athletes who've been boxed out, overlooked, and set up for losses they never deserved. As commentators keep exposing the truth, it's becoming clear. Shedeur Sanders' fight isn't just about football, it's about justice in the game itself. And this is where things get even wilder. Behind the scenes, whispers are spreading that Shedeur's treatment isn't just about football, it's about power plays in the league. Some insiders claim certain execs don't want Deion Sanders' sun shining too bright because it shifts the balance of influence in the NFL. If Shedeur rises, so does Prime's voice in the league. And not everybody in those high offices wants that to happen. Think about it. The Browns could have given Shedeur fair reps with starters, but instead they threw him in with guys who won't even make the final roster. That's not random, it's chess. By making him look shaky now, they can paint him as just another rookie who doesn't deserve the spotlight. And the narrative writes itself, see, he's not ready, just a fifth rounder after all.
You just beat the guy. And that's okay. You get paid, he gets paid. Sometimes Ocho just gonna win because Ocho was just the better player. Sometimes the defensive back is gonna win. He wins some, you win more than you lose. Right.
But here's the plot twist. They underestimated the fact that Shedeur doesn't break easy. Even when cornered, he showed maturity, he showed composure, and he showed the kind of accountability vets usually don't show. That's why fans are rallying behind him while critics keep digging deeper into the Browns' choices. The bigger question now, if this really is a league-level move to box Shedeur out, who else is pulling strings behind the curtain? Because if those names ever get exposed, this whole scandal could explode way beyond Cleveland. Fans are catching on, and the noise is getting louder. Social media has turned into a battlefield, with people calling out the Browns for straight-up sabotage. Some fans are posting clips, breaking down every snap Shadow took, showing how the plays were doomed from the start. One viral comment read, "They set him up with trash protection. No QB would have survived that." And thousands agreed. What's wild is that the narrative is starting to flip. Instead of Shadow being labeled as a rookie bust, fans are now pushing back hard, pointing the finger at the coaching staff for protecting their system instead of protecting their player. And that shift in public opinion is dangerous for the Browns, because once the fans start exposing receipts, the media has no choice but to dig deeper. Even other players around the league have begun dropping subtle comments, liking posts, and co-signing the idea that Shadow was thrown to the wolves on purpose. That's how movements start. What was once just a preseason storyline is now turning into something bigger. Fans versus the system, truth versus narrative. The Browns thought they could kill the hype before it grew, but all they've done is fuel a fire they can't control. And the more people talk, the clearer it becomes. Shadow Sanders is becoming a symbol for every athlete who's ever been set up to fail. Now the media storm is in full swing. What started with Stephen A., Skip, and Ocho is spreading fast. Sports shows, podcasts, and even mainstream outlets are putting the Browns under a microscope. Headlines are asking the same burning question. Did Cleveland set up Shadow Sanders to fail on purpose? That kind of attention isn't just embarrassing. It's dangerous for a franchise trying to protect its image. Panelists on ESPN debated the situation, with one analyst saying, "This isn't about one bad game, this is about a pattern of disrespect." Another added that Shadow's maturity in the face of sabotage makes him look even stronger, because while the system tried to bury him, he refused to point fingers and instead showed leadership.
No, I gotta watch the film, honestly. I can't say what it was. It's definitely different places where I could got my eyes in better spots and got to the progressions quicker, and regardless of anything, so all those sacks, they definitely on me.
That contrast, rookie grace versus coaching manipulation, has become the narrative fans are running with. Even bloggers and independent journalists are piling on, digging through practice reports, roster moves, and preseason rotations, piecing together how the Browns may have set the stage for Shadow's downfall. And let's be real, when outsiders start connecting dots the team can't explain away, the truth always starts to leak. The story isn't dying down, it's gaining traction. Every new headline adds more pressure on Stefanski and the Browns, and every new clip that surfaces makes Shadow look less like a struggling rookie and more like a young quarterback fighting against a rigged deck. And you know it was only a matter of time before Deion Sanders' name got pulled into the chaos. As Shadow's father and one of the loudest voices in sports, everybody's watching to see how Prime responds to his son being set up. So far, Deion has kept his cool publicly, but behind the scenes, insiders say he's furious with how the Browns handled Shadow. One source even claimed Prime feels like they disrespected his son, and by extension, disrespected him too. That's where things get sticky for the NFL. Deion isn't just a dad. He's a cultural figure who carries weight across sports, media, and business. If he decides to speak out, the conversation will explode past football, turning Shadow's situation into a national talking point about how young black quarterbacks are treated in the league. That's a storm the Browns are not ready for. Fans are already tagging Deion on social media, begging him to go public and set the record straight. And knowing Prime's history, once he talks, he doesn't hold back. He puts people on blast with names, dates, and facts. If that moment comes, it won't just be Stefanski under fire, it could shake the entire league's handling of rookie QBs. At the end of the day, this isn't just about Shadow Sanders. It's about breaking down those hidden barriers of bias in the NFL and making sure every player gets a real shot to shine. Shadow's resilience is powerful, but the question still hangs heavy. When will the system stop stacking the deck and finally give athletes like him the fair chance they deserve? Think about it. How long should players be expected to carry the weight of circumstances they didn't create? How long should a young quarterback be forced to take blame for situations that were set up against him from the start? That's the heart of the issue. And it's bigger than one preseason game. It's about the future of fairness in this sport. So now we turn it over to you. Do you believe Shedeur Sanders is being treated fairly, or do you see a deeper problem at play here? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video, and we'll see you on the next one.